Every hour of this program is a double feature. Now we once again join everyone's favorite rattlesnake-riding ruffian and his criminal-kicking horse pal in the further exploits of Roscoe Taylor, the Tallahassee Tween. Brought to you by KZSM.org, True Community Radio. Our second episode of the evening, a sinister scheme in the Spaghetti West. Roscoe and Checkers are wandering once again. That seems to be their MO nowadays. The two adventurers wanted to find treasure and fight crimes in the West, but most of their time seemed to actually be spent wandering around aimlessly and feeling hungry. They were recently struck with a hankering for some quality Italian food, which wasn't easy to come across back in the Old West. Anybody with a lick of sense knew there was only one place a fella could get Italian cuisine this side of the Atlantic Ocean, and that place was exactly where they headed.
Roscoe, we made it!
You're right, Checkers. We did. We're finally in the Spaghetti West! All the pasta we could eat, right under our feet. Look at that waterfall over there.
Why, Roscoe, that's not water. That's marinara sauce.
Wow, look at those tumbleweeds.
That's not any ordinary tumbleweed. That's angel hair pasta.
Look at those trees.
Okay, those are normal trees, but that doesn't take away from the fact that everything else is made of Italian food.
This land is so strange. Why is this part of the West covered in spaghetti and olive oil?
I don't exactly know, Roscoe. Maybe we should ask the locals? See that building way off in the distance?
Oh, that place that looks like an Italian bistro? The one with the giant statue of a chef kissing his fingers out in front of it?
That's the one. Why don't we head that way and see what's what?
Sure, I'm starving. Let's get a move on.
Our heroes walk up to the lone bistro, which was the only building for miles and miles in any direction. Once they entered the lobby, they were greeted by a young man wearing a pizza sauce-soaked apron and a very blank expression.
Hello, and welcome to Tony Cannoli's House of Ravioli, the only Italian bistro in the wild, wild West. I'm Leon, and I'll be serving you this evening.
Howdy, Leon. I'm Roscoe, and this is Checkers. We want some grub.
Well then, sirs, you came to the right place. Follow me to your seats, please. Would you like a table or a booth?
Do you have any troughs? Just kidding. Horse joke.
Very funny, sir. Very funny.
I think a table would be best.
Very good. Follow me.
Leon led the two deeper into the restaurant, past a few booths and one 8-person accordion band. Roscoe was glad they hadn't started playing yet. Leon walked up to an empty table alongside a corkboard-covered wall, and he gestured to the chairs.
These are your seats, sirs.
I won't need one unless you have extra sturdy seats. I don't think they'll support my weight.
Oh, come on, Checkers. You look great.
Thanks, little buddy. I was just making another horse joke. It's a habit of mine. I love fooling around with waiters.
Would you like anything to drink? Water, perhaps?
Well, you can lead a horse to water.
Thank you, sirs. No, water it is, then. Can I get appetizers to start you off with?
Do you guys have any bread that you can dip in oil? I love that stuff.
Just a few apples would be fine for me.
All right. I'll be back in just a few minutes, gentlemen.
Oh, actually, Leon, we had a few questions about this place.
Happy to help, sirs. Ask away.
I mean, for starters, why is there so much spaghetti everywhere?
And the marinara waterfalls?
As you both probably know, pasta isn't a renewable resource. It's drilled up from the Earth's magma core.
Wow. Did not know that.
You know, I feel like we have a habit of meeting people who tell us ridiculous statements, and we just roll with the punches. But I'm gonna have to fact check you on this one, Chief. Why would pasta be in the center of the planet?
The core of the Earth has to stay constantly hot, and part of that ecological cycle means it needs to burn millions of naturally occurring calories every minute. Italian cuisine consists of incredibly high-calorie meals which means it is perfectly suited to play a role in keeping our globe in equilibrium.
I don't know about you, Checkers, but he's got me convinced.
30 years ago, our founder Tony Cannoli was digging a water well in his backyard when suddenly, boom, a huge stream of marinara erupted from the ground, and noodles soon followed. Tony quickly became incredibly wealthy and established the world's first and only pasta power plant.
Wow.
Wow is right. He was going to revolutionize America's energy. He was going to take down big petroleum, replace coal with pizza pie, switch from oil to olive oil. You get the idea.
Barely.
All was well and good. Tony Cannoli became a titan of industry overnight. Unfortunately, the reactor had a catastrophic meltdown, and the plant exploded, covering everything in a 70-mile radius in radioactive pasta. Scientists said this area would be unlivable for the next decade.
Because of the nuclear fallout?
No, because marinara has replaced all clean drinking water.
Oh.
Eventually, nature adapted to the Italian flavor, and things became livable once again. In fact, some species of plants and animals have naturally grown perfectly suited for this ecosystem. The meltdown destroyed the power plant, of course, and Tony Cannoli died instantly. We built this restaurant on top of the plant's rubble to stand as a testament to Tony's brave work. He was a hard worker, idealistic, and he was raised to live off the land, to use all parts of the pasta-covered buffalo.
There were buffalo?
Only for a short while. They were hunted to extinction. They're on the menu right there next to the chicken parm. But I was being proverbial. The statue in front of the building is Tony's final gift to the world, and our final way of honoring his well-seasoned legacy.
Checkers, would it be morally wrong to order the buffalo? I'm curious.
It would be morally gray at the very least. You're better off just ordering some fettuccine alfredo or something.
The truth of the plant's explosion is wrapped in mystery. To this day, some say it was an undercover double agent for a big oil company who sabotaged the plant. Some say Tony focused too much on his cooking and not enough on the reactor's cooling cores. But nobody knows the real story for sure. Some things are simply lost to time.
Well, you've sure given us a lot to think about.
I'll get those appetizers for you, sirs.
Hey, Checkers,
Yeah, kid?
do you see that corkboard over there?
Sure. It has pictures of the Roman Colosseum and the Pope and stuff like that posted on it.
Does anything seem weird about it to you?
Not really. Why?
Well, that picture of the Pope is the only poster that's crooked.
Maybe it's some commentary about how the Catholic Church is corrupt beyond redemption?
I doubt it.
Yeah, you're right. Well, so what if it's crooked?
It just sort of bothers me. I'm gonna straighten it.
As soon as Roscoe adjusted the Pope portrait, the corkboard made a click sound and quickly began moving. A portion of the wall, the ground, the table, and the chairs at Roscoe and Checker's seating area were spun clockwise across the floor 180 degrees, revealing a secret entrance to an industrial-looking lair.
The wall switched us around. That was crazy.
But you said it. I've heard of that sort of thing happening with a bookshelf, but never a corkboard. Where are we now?
This place looks really old. There's cobwebs everywhere.
All these metal panels and buttons don't look like they've been touched in ages.
Didn't the waiters say they built this restaurant on top of the old pasta power plant? This must be the remaining parts of the building.
Remaining is right. This place is in shambles. Let's walk down that staircase and get a look around. But we need to come back up to our seats within a few minutes. I don't want the employees of the restaurant to get too suspicious of us.
Deal. Let's have a little look-see down there.
The two headed down the staircase further into the depths of the deserted pasta power plant. The largest room at the bottom of the stairs had a desk with a few buttons, a few knobs, and one very strange item.
Is that a Ouija board?
Oh, no. My mama told me to never to use these things.
But ghosts aren't real.
How do you know that?
Think about it. If a ghost appeared for every person that died, every square inch of the world would be covered with ghosts. We'd have cavemen ghosts, knights in shining armor ghosts, ghosts up the wazoo. But when people tell stories about the supernatural, they only see like one scary ghost, maybe two. There's no way they're real.
I disagree heavily.
Can we just try the Ouija board? Please? Please? Please, 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 please?
What if we summon something? Some otherworldly monster we can't control?
If that happens, I'll kick its butt back to the nether realm or whatever. You have my word. When else are we gonna have a chance to play with the demon board game?
I think this whole place is creepy, Roscoe.
What's the matter? Chicken?
What? No, I'm not. Chickens are the least majestic of the barnyard animals. I have class.
Then prove it. Grab this little Ouija triangle and slide it on the board with me.
Okay, once. I will do it one time and then we move on, okay?
Okay. Put your hooves on top of it. Like this.
The two placed hands and hooves on top of the triangle, and a strange force pulled on the object.
Whoa. Do you feel that?
What? You're the one pushing it.
It isn't me, honest.
The triangle dragged itself slowly to the letter M, then A, then back to M, then back to A.
This thing busted?
Then it finally moved back to M, but this time it slid over to I, and finally it locked into its final position on A.
What does that mean? Mamma Mia?
With a shudder and a sudden cold blast of wind, blue light emanated from the Ouija board, and a ghastly specter appeared before their very eyes.
Oh my god. It's a ghost.
My mom was right. I was right. I hate you, Roscoe. Now I'm gonna get killed by a ghost. I somehow knew it would end this way.
It looks like a stereotypical Italian chef?
Like the guy from the statue outside?
Mamma mia! Oh, it's me, a Tony Cannoli.
Ah!
No need to scream, a little boy tween and a bigger cowboy horse. I'm a friendly ghost.
No such thing.
What do you want with us?
Nothing. You've brought me to the land of the living. I just wanted to chat. How do you like the power plant?
Huh? It's kind of creepy. There's cobwebs everywhere.
That's true. What's your name, boys?
I'm Roscoe, and this is Checkers.
Nice to meet you, Rigatone and Checkers. I used to be a famous Italian chef and a businessman.
Yeah, we already got the spiel upstairs. We heard about the reactor meltdown and everything. I don't really want to talk to you anymore. What if you steal my soul or something?
Oh, no, silly. I wouldn't do that to you two. I'm happy to have some company. And besides, horses don't have souls. That's why they go straight into cowboy hell when they die.
I've heard that before. Sorry, Checkers. I wish the rules were different.
Oh, who needs cowboy Jesus anyways? That dope died when he was 33. You'd think the cowboy son of cowboy God could at least make it to his 50s before getting run over by a buffalo stampede and later crucified.
That's a blasphemous horse. But I guess you don't really have to worry about the whole sins that have consequences weight on your shoulders like the rest of us. So who am I to stop you? We're getting off track, though. Why are you two down here in the remains of my pasta power plant?
We found this secret entrance and thought we should explore around. What happened here? How did the reactor melt down?
Oh, you will want to know my tragic backstory? I'll tell you for sure, right after this commercial break. Roscoe, Checkers, and the Ghost of Tony Cannoli are about to go into the details of the day that doomed the Spaghetti West. How did it happen? And why did Tony meet the criteria to become a ghost? What are the specific details of Cowboy Jesus, and how does it differ from normal Jesus? If you're lucky, we just might explain some of those answers to these questions after a short commercial break.
You're listening to KZSM.org, True Community Radio.
Welcome back to the further adventures of Roscoe Taylor, the Tallahassee tween, and his apparently soulless horse partner, Checkers Justice. Back in the underground abandoned pasta power plant, located underneath Tony Cannoli's house of raviolis, Checkers and Roscoe have just tampered with powers beyond their understanding and summoned Tony Cannoli's ghost. He was just about to explain how the reactor melted down and how everything went to hot and ready hell all those years ago.
So what happened?
Yeah, how did the Spaghetti West get so spaghetti-ified?
It's simple. You see, back when I was still alive, I went to work one day like a normal. Everything was a completely typical day in the pasta power plant. I had some enemies, sure. Some oil tycoons and natural gas magnates hated my guts, but none of them were allowed in the building. Only my trusted employees had access to the interior of the plant, so I figured it would be a typical day like any other. The research and development team was hard at work on a new scientific breakthrough. It was a prototype solution for a totally clean source of energy, an engine that needed only one tank of fuel and it would run indefinitely. The fuel had to be a perfect mixture of garlic bread and Prosecco.
Garlic bread and Prosecco? How on earth would that work?
No interruptions during the flashback. It worked using Nielsen's theory of infinite bread or wine balance. The more drunk somebody gets on Prosecco, the more garlic bread they want. The more garlic bread they eat, the more Prosecco they want to wash it down with. It's like a snake eating its own tail. They designed an engine that could subatomically split the atoms in either the garlic...
Just skip to the important part.
You two are rude, but I'll do as you ask. Later in the afternoon, an intern of mine asked me about the future of the plant and told me I was wasting its potential.
How are you wasting it?
He argued that we were wasting the time and resources on humanity's problems when we should really help usher in the next step in consciousness or whatever. I don't know. I kind of tuned him out after a certain point, to be honest with you. He was being a very hyperbolic. I never liked that intern. He couldn't handle criticism well. One of those guys with a big ego but a low self-esteem. You know what I'm talking about?
I know the type.
We fought a guy in a cactus costume a while back who falls into that category.
I wish this guy had a funny costume. He was really dull. He had a very dry way of talking. He smelled like a mothball. It's gross. Anyways, I fired him on the spot. I was sick of hearing of this dude, sick of seeing of this dude, sick of smelling of this dude, sick of all of it. So I started to walk away, and as soon as I turned my back to him, he tossed a huge disc of pizza dough into the air and spun it like a frisbee. The thing landed on top of my head and quickly wrapped itself around in my upper part of my body. I love a pizza pie, but not when it's cutting off of my oxygen. I struggled to get it off, but while I was flailing around on the floor, grasping at the dough, the intern started tapping away on the control of the board. Then suddenly I heard a boom, and I woke up as a ghost.
But why did he blow up the reactor if he wanted to use it so bad?
And what was the intern's name? Is he still alive?
I don't have any clue why he did what he did. Believe me, I think his name was like a Larry or something. Lenny, Leopatra.
Leon.
Huh? Yeah, that's it, Leon.
So you figured out the truth.
The boys turned around to see their waiter Leon standing in the doorframe with 2 long spaghetti noodles in either hand. The voice surprised Checkers so much that he bucked a little, shoving the Ouija board off the desk and onto the ground. Tony Cannoli's ghost vanished into thin air as soon as the Ouija board flipped and fell on the floor.
What are you doing here?
I could ask you to the same thing, but I think I already know the answer. Snooping around in the factory remains, are we, sirs?
Why'd you do it, Leon? Why'd you kill Tony Cannoli?
Why'd you cause the meltdown? Why did you choose to work as a waiter in an Italian restaurant dedicated to a man you murdered?
I wouldn't expect you simpletons to grasp my genius. I was on the breakthrough of a revolution. My magnum opus.
You were an intern. How magnum could your opus be?
Wait, how did you know I was an intern? That's classified information.
Tony Cannoli's ghost told us everything we needed to know, and then some.
What? Ghosts aren't real.
Yes, they are, my man. I was just as skeptical as you are now, but I got egg on my face.
No. Ghosts can't be real. Think about it. If a ghost appeared for every person that died, every square inch of the world would be covered with ghosts. We'd have caveman ghosts.
Save it. I used the same exact argument before I summoned an Italian chef ghost. I was totally in the wrong. I don't know how it works, but it works.
I'm a man of pasta-themed science. I reject this superstitious nonsense.
Whatever, dude. Fine. Be that way.
As I was saying, my magnum opus. You see, the reactor's malfunction caused a seismic shift in this area's flora and fauna. It affected the nature of everything here in the Spaghetti West. I have more to say, but first, Noodle Whip, go.
Leon flung the noodles at Roscoe and Checkers, which instantly hogtied them and constricted the two onto the ground.
Ugh, wrong move, buddy.
We're gonna kick your butt.
I'm afraid it is I who will be doing the butt kicking, sirs. I've waited a long time for this moment. The survivors of the first explosion got together and built the restaurant on the ground level to honor Mr. Cannoli's legacy. But I used it to get my advantage as a cover for the next step in the spaghettification of the entire world.
These noodles won't hold me back forever, Leon. As soon as I get the chance, I'm taking you down.
You see, I have one simple goal. And I've been working very hard to reach it over the years. The mozzarella drill Mark II is now fully operational, and I intend to use it now.
To what end? What could you possibly gain from all this?
I will not be gaining. Mankind will be the recipient of my gift. I've located an enormous stream of pesto pasta deep below the Earth's mantle. Once the drill hits the stream, the pasta will shower the entire globe. I will blot out the sun with calories. This will kill most of the human population, but within a few generations, a new breed of mankind will evolve in this post-apocalyptical land. I am ushering in a new era of life, of consciousness, the next logical step in the ladder of progress.
You're a madman.
I'm not a madman.
I'm not a man. I'm a horse.
And I'm not a man either. I'm a tween.
Roscoe kicked his foot forward into the Ouija board that was laying on the ground. He snapped it into an upright position and launched it to Checkers, who caught it in between his hooves.
Hey, put that thing down.
Fat chance. We're gonna summon your old boss to help us get out of this mess. My mom was wrong. Summoning spirits from beyond the mortal coil isn't always a bad idea.
How many times do I have to tell you ghosts aren't real?
Oh yeah? Watch this.
Checkers pushed pressure on the triangle in the middle of the Ouija board, and it slowly slid to the letter M. Leon lunged at him and was now positioned between Roscoe and Checkers, who kicked the board and triangle back over Leon's head. It landed right in front of the Tallahassee tween, who pressed the triangle as it moved to A. As Leon refocused on the board, Roscoe sent it back flying over the villain's head.
You should be embarrassed of yourself. You can't even catch a dang Ouija board. What kind of mad spaghetti scientist are you?
Give it to me.
The pair continued playing monkey in the middle with Leon and the board until every letter was picked out. Suddenly, the room became ice cold as a blue mist formed into the shape of a portly pizza chef with a big brown mustache and a sly smile on his face. It's me, a Tony Cannoli.
Oh, ghosts are real.
You betcha. And I've heard of your crazy plan, Leonardo. I'm ashamed of you.
Kick his teeth in, Tony. We're a little tied up right now.
Yeah, throw him into the wall or something.
I killed you. I buried you. How?
There's a much you don't fail to understand. There's a much you do fail to understand. Sorry, boys, but the ghosts can't interact with the living plane in a physical way like that.
Haha, you lose again, old man. All I have to do is press that big red button and the drill will start its downward descent. And I'm doing it right now.
That was easy.
Leon slapped his palm down on the button, and the mechanical groans of the drill started rumbling from below.
You fool! We're all doomed now!
Young boy whose name I forgot, start chewing on the noodles as fast as you can.
It's Roscoe. And okay.
Roscoe started chewing and chewing like his life depended on it. Finally, he broke free.
Honestly, I should have thought of that earlier.
Me too.
Quickly, Rango, to the controller panel. Roscoe leaped over Leon and landed right in front of the system controls. Now type in, that's a spicy meatball, and then hit enter.
No, my magnum opus.
As Roscoe typed, Leon jolted forward to execute a rage-filled tackle. But before the wretched waiter could reach the tween, Checkers jumped in the way and kicked Leon hard, sending him crashing into the furthest wall.
I did it. I typed the code. I hit enter.
The drill slowed down to a quiet buzz before becoming silent altogether.
Great work, partner.
You too, old buddy. Good timing.
You haven't stopped me for long, you ingrates. As long as I live, I will never stop trying to bring about the advancement of our planet's postolution.
I can help with that one. Tony flew over to Leon and stuck one ethereal hand into his chest and pulled out a pale green orb. Leon's body slumped to the ground as the orb expanded. It transformed into a being of pure translucent light who looked exactly like Leon.
What is this? Where am I? What did you do?
I pulled your soul out of your body. You're a ghost now, and I'm taking you straight into cowboy hell.
You can't do that. I was gonna change the world. Change the world.
Whatever you say, Panini Brain. Goodbye, fellas. I thank you for all the help.
Thank you, Tony Cannoli's ghost. We really couldn't have done it without you.
Seriously, you're a lifesaver.
That's Afterlife Saver. Just a joking. That's a little ghost joke I like to make sometime. Anyways, Mr. Horse, I'll be seeing you in cowboy hell sometime in the future. And Randolph? Well, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Come on, Leon's ghost, let's go!
No.
Tony Cannoli dragged Leon's soul down to cowboy hell as Roscoe and Checkers watched with a mix of horror and admiration. Once they were gone, our two heroes looked at each other and headed back up the staircase to the restaurant waiting above.
So there's no way I can get into cowboy heaven? What if I get baptized?
Don't sweat it, buddy. If you're going to cowboy hell for all of eternity, I want to be there right next to you. You're the best companion a kid could ask for, no matter if we're alive or not.
Oh, little buddy. That's sort of sweet. That's sort of sweet.
As Roscoe and Checkers walk upstairs to finally chow down on their appetizers, tonight's story comes to an end. Make sure to tune in next week at 9 p.m. to hear the next audio adventures of everyone's favorite spirit-summoning shrimp, Roscoe Taylor, the Tallahassee Tween! Tonight's episodes were brought to you by KZSM.org, True Community Radio. Sam Pierce played Roscoe Taylor. Mitchell Oden played Checkers Justice and the Town Fool. Josh Davis played Barkeep and Leon. Jordan Pilkenton played Realty Twin 2 and worked as the audio producer for our program. This show is written and directed by me, Garrett Buss. I played the Narrator, Realty Twin 1, and the Nun. The Ghost of Tony Cannoli played himself. Coming up after this is a very, very, very special episode of Swamp Gas Uggos at 10, so be sure to stay tuned. From all of us here in the Wild Wild West, thank you and good night.